Hi, and welcome to Cooking Time. I'm David Martone, Executive Chef at Classic Thyme Cooking School. And we're here taking advantage of the last little bit of summer for a nice end of summer show. We have a lot of great stuff to do, and we're going to try and utilize some stuff that we may have around at the end of the summer that'll be nice and fresh. First thing I want to do is just to grill a nice steak. We have some ribeye steak actually with the bone in. Whenever you can do anything with meat with the bone in, it gives you a bit more flavor. I'm not even going to trim these down because we're going to cook them a little bit slow, and we're going to allow that fat to try and melt into the meat. So first thing I want to do is I've got some pre-packaged dry spice rub that I'm going to put on both of these steaks, both sides. You can test out a bunch of different brands and see which ones you like, or you can experiment by making your own. We've done that from time to time as well. Got to be careful when we grill these because there's a lot of fat on these steaks, so you can get a flare up. So we're going to start them off on a high grill, and we're going to move them over to a lower grill. The ribeye steak, or some people call it the Delmonico, actually have a lot more flavor than your average cut of beef. The trick is navigating around all of the little impediments that are in it for some folks, such as the fat and pieces of bone if you don't do them boneless, if you leave the bone on. So we've got our grill nice and hot. See, I've got the first one on here. That one looks like it has a bit more fat. We'll put the second one. I'm trying to put them on a little bit of an angle compared to the bars of the grill. We'll have to keep an eye on those because we want to make sure that we don't have a tremendous flare-up of flame. As that fat starts to melt, it'll drip down, and even though we have diverter bars in this grill to kind of divert the fat off, with the fat content as high as these steaks, you can sometimes get some pretty decent flare-ups. That's why I've got part of it actually regulated down to medium-low, while the other part is up on high. And we need something to go along with that, so we're going to do some eggplant. I'm going to get some eggplant from the garden. It's sometimes a little bit tough to get, but this is a good-sized eggplant. We have a few more that are too small yet. A lot of flowers left. Toward the end of the summer, we'll have to just see how long the weather holds out so we can see how many eggplants we can actually harvest from this plant. Fresh eggplant that we picked from our garden. I'm going to cut some big slices of eggplant. Best thing to do when you're cutting eggplant is to use a serrated knife. Serrated knife is good for anything where the outside is harder than the inside. Eggplant, any kind of squash, citrus, bread, tomatoes. That's typically what you want to use your serrated knife for. Let's put these scraps over here. Now we're going to take these eggplant slices, and I want to brush them up with a little bit of olive oil and put some salt and pepper on them both sides. Every minute or so I'm going to take a look at our grill just to see how we're doing. Still doing okay with no flare-ups. I've got some regular olive oil here. We'll use our extra virgin olive oil to drizzle at the end, but the regular olive oil simply for the cooking. I want to give them a nice coating on both sides. And before we flip them, we'll put a little bit of salt and pepper. You can grill a bunch of these up and keep them in the refrigerator. We're going to salt and pepper pretty much everything we do as we go along. This allows for a nice flavor barrier. Just flip them over. Brush that other side up with the This is looking good already. You know, doing things so simply with a minimal amount of added ingredients is really the way the Tuscans cook. You use what you have, what's available, what's fresh, And if necessary, you duplicate and do the same item several different ways. When fava beans are at their peak in Italy, they'll have fava beans 3 different ways in a single meal. Let's take a look now. We'll throw these guys on the grill. We are getting a little bit of flare up, so I'm going to move these steaks. We've actually marked them on one part, and we're going to just reverse them around so that we can capture those nice grill marks and get a nice even pattern. This way when we flip it, we'll have a presentation side. Okay, so far so good. Just clean off my table. We're always doing cleanups as we go along. It helps to keep us organized. Next up, I want to do some asparagus. New Jersey is known for asparagus. We get beautiful asparagus, and it's one of those things where I love to cook the local regional items and do them very simply. Now, I want to grill these. A lot of folks never think to grill asparagus. You have to be careful if they're too thin, because you don't want to dry them out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay some of these out, and I'm going to try and slip a little skewer right through the side of these. So I can keep them together. I'll stick another skewer through the back side here. A little bit tough sometimes when they're this thin because they tend to split. Maybe one more through here just to make sure that we've got them together so they won't fall apart. Great. See how that holds nicely together? Again, we'll brush with a little bit of olive oil. And salt and pepper. I know this might sound a little redundant, but it's just a simple way of ensuring that you get even seasoning throughout whatever you're cooking. Makes a tremendous difference in the finished product. It's these little details that we pay attention to that makes everything that we do just a wonderful success. Anytime you start to smell something or see big wisps of smoke from the grill, it's an indication that you should check it. Always pay attention to your senses. Okay, let's take another look. We're looking good here. Let's check these steaks out. Boy, that's a great looking steak already. I'm going to put this back on. Flip the other one. Oh, beautiful. Check our eggplant. Eggplant's starting to cook nicely. I'm going to move this other steak here because we're getting a little bit of a flare up here. Just keep everything away from that for now. And we'll place our asparagus rack